Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. Joined once again with Lisa Schermerhorn. We're going to be talking balance the body and soul, quantum energy healing. And, we've done this several times, Lisa. Thanks for coming on again. What are your thoughts on quantum healing these days?
Well, what's interesting is, and I had a long talk with Honey, and I'm hoping that she makes it. She was supposed to fly in yesterday, and the tornadoes were so insane
Oh,
that
wow.
they
Yeah.
they they canceled her flight, so she had to
Wow.
fly in this morning. But we've had weather here in Vermont, rain steady for almost 3 weeks, like torrential downpours, washing out roads. I think we've had like 1 or 2 days of sun, but it's rained almost every day. And Mother Gaia is cleaning house right now.
Yeah, no doubt. Are you missing Mexico?
Yeah, I am pretty much. I didn't have any rain for 3 months, and I was like, "What the heck?" I just made up for the whole 3 months, and in a couple of weeks since I got back. But what was interesting is when we talk about quantum, and this is the coolest part, is the veil is now gone, and we are actually in the fifth dimension. But we have to get ourselves ready for that. And so here's been really cool. I'm manifesting like crazy, so you have to be really careful what you think about. But this weekend was my niece's graduation from University of Vermont, so I had all this family come up. And it was raining so much every day, and I'm driving into Burlington, and it was rain or shine outside, and we'd been having torrential downpours. So I just said to Spirit, just please make it clear for the ceremony. If you need to have this rain for whatever reason, just have it rain before and after. And literally, as soon as it started, the rain stopped, and as 2 hours later, when everything was over, the rain started up again.
Oh,
So
wow.
we have this ability to start doing this and really, really think about that. And I was like, it stopped and the raindrops started. It was cool. But then I had, so without getting too personal, but everyone in that family is very woke, so I don't think anyone's going to see this interview anyway. But there was someone who was going to be at the table because there were 17 of us at dinner celebrating. And I hadn't met this person yet. And I was dreading because I had heard that they were really loud and obnoxious. And the whole time I was driving, going, I don't want to sit next to this guy. And all I kept doing was focusing on the idea of sitting next to this obnoxious person. So I get there and no one's sitting yet. Everyone's standing around. So I got my cousins together. I'm like, all right, we're going to go sit here so this person won't sit near us. We sit down, and who sits down across from me is this person. I was like, so it works both ways. You want it, whatever you focus on, what you don't want is what you end up focusing on, and then you attract it.
Yeah, that's amazing how that works out. Tracy's really good at like getting parking. She does angel parking, so
Yeah.
she sends ahead for like the perfect parking spot. It happens quite often. So yeah, we I've done a lot of stuff with weather. So yeah, your consciousness definitely it's a vibrational frequency. It's in that quantum realm, and there's lots of things we can do in that quantum realm.
Yeah, and it's really about setting your intention and really knowing what you want. And one of the things that Honey talks about is because now that we're in the fifth dimension, but a lot of us aren't aware because we have to actually give our bodies permission. We have to give ourselves, ask permission. So we have to ask permission for our mind, our inner child, and our body to drop the veil because your body or one of the other parts may not agree. And an example of you drop that veil and you see the matrix. And are you ready to see an ET walking across the street in front of you?
Mhm.
Right? You might have a breakdown. So you have to start getting yourself ready for what you might start to see. And you have to start giving yourself permission and understand that you are the master of all of this. You are creating all of this. You are creating your NPCs. You're creating all of this to create the synchronicities that you need and want in your life. So it's just a really interesting thing about really thinking about. I just interviewed, and I know you did too, was Tom Althouse, where he really
Yeah.
talks about the matrix and how that works, and how we are our own creator gods, and how this false matrix has been in us for so long that what would life look like without all of this? What if we could have everything we wanted? I mean, it just sounds too good to be true. It almost sounds crazy.
Yeah, I think it's in a 3D reality that's things manifested very, very slowly, and that's probably a good thing
Yes.
because people don't know how to control their thoughts sometimes. But for those of us that are working in the quantum realm, we can manifest very quickly. Where how do you put yourself in a quantum realm? For me, I've done vast amounts of time meditating, and it took me a while to get to that point where I can just go there. I'm there. I feel like I'm there all day. There's some times where I feel like I slip back into normalness, and it's like, oh no, I don't like to go there. Let's go back to that quantum realm.
It feels like you're kind of daydreaming is the way I say it. Like I'll
Yeah,
go into a meditative state, and then all of a sudden, and I noticed there's been a shift recently, more so that I'm having conversations in that in between state with people and circumstances and asking for things to happen, and they're happening almost instantaneously. It's kind of jarring.
yeah,
And it's something that it's like there's a worthiness issue that I've had to sit back, and I'm like, yeah, all these amazing things are happening. Now I have to sit with what may be blocking that, and how do I keep that going?
yeah. So keeping that going is, I think, a challenge, obviously, in today's environment. I'm writing and putting together a course on uh, demons and so forth, and how to overcome all of that consciousness. It is it's very challenging to overcome that. But some of the priests, that I've looked at that have done that, they say that it's constant. We think of this 3D reality, and we're interacting now. We interact with other people, but in that quantum realm where dark entities and so forth dwell, along with angelic and light beings and so forth, it's very busy there. So we don't realize that they're all around us at all the time,
Right.
and we don't really have the like sometimes you think you're alone, but you're not. So
No. We're never alone. As a matter of fact, I was studying with a medium years ago when I first started, and I asked to have a session, and she sat back and she goes, "Wow, you walk around with a crowd." And then she's like, "Your family members are really nosy." I said, "Yeah, they were nosy in life too." So she's like, "Yeah, nothing's changed."
uh,
But what's interesting is, and I've learned this pretty recently, is sometimes what feels like an attack from an entity or a demon can be your own shadow.
yeah,
And so we have to be aware of a fractal of ourselves from another parallel that's coming in that wants to be part of us, and it's not fitting, and it's creating a tremendous amount of pain, because the veil has been thinning for a while. And I'm curious your thoughts as you write this book, as the frequencies are rising. Are a lot of these demons and entities able to really function in these new dimensions?
no, 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 not at all. And that's the power of the power of the higher frequencies, and those that have been before us that have taught us, like Jesus and Buddha and other great souls throughout time, Abraham. We have had great teachers, and they have shown us how to raise our vibrational frequency. Jesus constantly cast out demons. He's like casting them out, and I can do the same. I do the same. That's not something I focus on, of course, in my current time, but I have been very, very skilled, and I still am at tossing demons out, and even to the point where I can send them back to the light. I can defractalize them and send them back to the light if they're really a baddie. So,
Yeah.
uh,
And
but
yeah.
yeah, go ahead. Hmm.
No, I was going to say there's also a difference, like when I'm working with people, because there's demons and then there's attachments, like
Yes.
lost souls and things like that. And there's a different way of working with them. So, how do you work with them differently like that?
So it has when I work with somebody, they have to want that, of course,
Right.
and it's easy to send attachment as you're calling it, and I use that same terminology. Send an attachment packing. Some attachments are not going to go away, and they're causing problems for humanity. And I get tasks from, I believe, from higher source to basically unattach and if need be, basically take a demon out. In the early days, the demons were way more powerful than I was, and they had their way with me one time. That's when we talk about that, how I had the Archangel Michael experience. But I learned from that, and I approached that very methodically after that, and have built a very good ability to go after attachments and send attachments away. Attachments just aren't on because we've heard of haunted houses. So a lot of people think, oh, attachments are on people. Uh, you know, Stephen King wrote the book. What was it, Christine? I think, about the car that had.
Yes.
Yeah. So uh,
People.
these negative attachments aren't just in people. They can be in inanimate objects as well. We think of them as inanimate, but everything is vibrational frequency. So it is basically a frequency, and another frequency interacts with that frequency and creates some kind of other frequency, dark frequency, light frequency. Of course, the angelic
Yeah.
realm does same stuff. So what do you attract? Do you attract the good side? Of course, if you're like we are of the light, the bad dark frequencies are going to try and impede you. So you have to be, uh, keeping your frequency high, and they're going to try and come in. There's, they'll attack your family members and all kind of crazy stuff. But I agree with you. And Honey Golden said the same thing about not so much the dark entities or demonic forces, so forth. It's that shadow side of us a lot of times that people get confused with being a demonic force.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you talk about inanimate objects, because there's a study called psychometry, because especially when you're dealing with antiques and pieces of furniture or jewelry that you inherit will have their energy on them. And I took a class again with that same medium, Rita, when I lived in Boston, and we all had to bring an item that belonged to an ancestor and put them in a
Mm.
basket, and we would pick one of those items and close our eyes, and we had to tap into what that person who that person was who owned it. And you can get images of them, you can have conversations with them just from holding those items. So when you buy antiques and things like that, it's good to get those pieces cleared.
Yeah, it's a little saltwater bath in the moonlight does wonders. So, but intention really does the same thing. I've heard of priests. There was this one guy who says before I was a priest, there were this one area in our neighborhood that was like very dark, and the buildings. Everyone knew that if you went around those buildings, or like dark forces were around them, you didn't want to go around them at night. I made the mistake of doing that one night, and he had footsteps behind him. He saw like these eyes that were watching him in the distance, and as he got close, it kind of like faded away. So he basically approached this one priest, and this priest was like, "I'll meditate on that." So they basically did it from the church. So they remote influenced this area, and he said for a long time animals wouldn't come around that area. So after this priest and a group of people did a meditation, a quantum meditation, I would call it. They cleansed that area, and then the
Yeah.
animals came and they flourished around that area. And before, they wouldn't go near that area. And he said you could go in that area again, and it felt light, it felt refreshing. whereas before it was very dark, very imposing, very negative. So, we do have these abilities, like we talked about in the beginning, to influence certain environments, certain objects, and so forth. I remember I went to a course. It was a Native American spirituality course, and we whittled on soapstone. We just carved a little figure or whatever. I think I did like a spoon or something. And I was partnered with another guy. I didn't even know this guy. He was like younger than I was. I think I was like in my 50s at the time, and he was like in his early 20s. So he's carving his thing, and I'm carving mine. And then the guy that was running the course was like, "Okay, now we're going to do a meditation. You're going to take your partner's whittling that they've been working on for the last couple of days, and you're just going to meditate, and you're going to see what comes through." So I meditated, and I had an experience that my partner had. And I was like, "I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna tell him this is what I got." And he's like, "I haven't thought about that in a long, long time. Wow, that was a very, impactful experience in my life." And he came up with another one where it almost had a near drowning. And I remember coming up and I saw Jesus and a cross behind Jesus. And then I saw my dad was running down the pier next time. So, and then he pulled me out of the water. But, he came up with that. How could he know anything about that?
That's wild.
It was crazy. So yeah, these objects do carry information. Uh, I just hope the guy that worked on my car, put my car together, had a good day, because I've gotten
When
some
you
real lemons, but I have a really good car now. Hope the next car I get has somebody's like really good, had a good day. So
But that's also who prepares your food. So you want to put good
definitely.
energy in your food before you eat it. Pray over your food, send it
Mm,
Reiki, whatever you want to do. I've talked to you about, I spent time at a place called Damen here, which is
yeah.
a mystery school in northern Italy. And it's a long story about it, but we were taking little vials of water, and you put your energy into it, focus it, and then you had to give it to the next person, similar to whittling. Well, I happened to have a sinus infection at the time. And the guy next to me who got my bottle with my energy, all of a sudden he's like, "Oh my God, I have a splitting headache."
Wow.
He was holding the bottle of water. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sorry." So, in the quantum realm, just for people to understand, it's like we're sending energy and it's intention. So, with the quantum work that Honey and I do, we're not healing anyone. We're helping raise the frequency so that you can match it, right? And you also have to give your body permission to do that. You have to want it, because there are a lot of people who are attached to, they've been sick for 20 years, or maybe they get disability, or they get attention for it, or I don't know who I would be, then I'd have to take responsibility for my life. Um, but I find that this quantum healing works so deeply on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level that we're seeing some incredible experiences happen, and life-changing things happen through this quantum healing. And it's been really remarkable.
Yeah, and that's a good point about praying over your food. I remember I was driving, and I pulled into this one stop that I usually pull into, and they usually have like really good um, chicken. Best, I love chicken. And so I went in to get it, and the people behind the counter were arguing. And I was like, I shouldn't get this food. It like hit me. I shouldn't eat this food. I shouldn't eat this food. I'm like, I'm really hungry. I'm going to get it anyway. So I got the food, and I get sick. So, you know,
Oh,
I didn't pray over it. I didn't pray
no.
over it. So I do that now. I don't do fast food now at all. But if I'm going out, I usually, have a consciousness with connection with the food. Make sure that it's good. But it is it is it is something that you need to do. And in that course as well, I learned not just that one course. I also learned how to remote view in that one course, and we talk about that. So there is the meditation practice that we talk about. You have to be able to get your consciousness. So people have the misunderstanding that I can just think this. No, you have to be in a meditative. You have to be in a certain state of consciousness
Right.
when you have these thoughts. Because if you're in like that angry, like those people behind the counter, and like I'm gonna do good now, that's not gonna happen. So you
No.
have to be in a very loving, positive frame of mind, and then you have these thoughts and you send them out, and you make good things happen in the environment. So
Yeah.
that's one of the things that you do with your your healing course.
Yeah, and well, what also happens is, and people can do this very easily. There's a state right now that we're in called beta.
Yeah.
It's our conscious mind, and we're in our head when we do that. We can get ourselves to alpha very easily. That's
Mhm.
that daydream state. But if someone's really anxious, deep breathing tugs on your vagus nerve, which calms down your whole parasympathetic nervous system. Because you want to get, if you're in fight or flight or overdrive, you're not going to get there. So deep belly breathing is really helpful. And then someone showed this to me. It's actually an ancient Hawaiian practice called the hakalau. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but if you put your fingers in front of you and you stare out straight, but you keep your fingers in your peripheral vision
Right.
as far out as you can go, and it'll put you in a relaxed state,
Right.
you automatically start retaining everything. So if you're studying or you need to remember something, you put yourself in that state. And then when you go to take that test, you put yourself back into that state if you need to memorize anything, and the information will come up. You can do some really cool exercises with your brain, and that puts you automatically into the alpha state. So people like, oh, I'm not hypnotizable, or I can't, relax. You actually can.
Yeah.
It's just also a willingness of, what is it you want to do with that, and are you willing? Are you ready? So as the message I got from Honey on this is, whereas we're going into that fifth dimension, you have to ask permission. And, what do you do if your mind isn't ready, or your inner child isn't ready, or your, let's see, what did she say? It's your mind, your inner child, and your body. So, one of the things we can do is connect to what is that part that's not ready, and release the fear so that you can be ready. So that's part of what you can do in the quantum healing. So what we're doing is we have people set an intention of what they want to heal. We have them pick one thing. So this Friday we have 12 o'clock and 4 o'clock, and that will be Eastern. It's Eastern time, but they can come to both. So you can pick two different things for each time. But you focus on one thing that you want to heal, and then you're releasing whatever the fear is, or you're healing that, or if it's a fractal that has come in that is unhealed, maybe it needs to go back to your oversoul. And the other thing that's really beautiful about Honey is that she's a medical intuitive. She's very psychic. So after the healing, people get a chance to ask questions.
Mm.
As the group keeps getting bigger and bigger, I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to do that. But for now, she's really been able to answer some really great questions in people's lives. So that's really powerful, is for people to be able to really fully engage in getting into that fifth dimension. So you're a creator all the time, which is about manifesting, abundance, manifesting the life you want, the relationships you want, and letting go.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So the basically taking the vision and doing that because it's the wide angle vision. So
Yep.
the rods that are in the peripheral of your eyes are the ones that basically activate the beta brainwave activity. So just by going into wide angle vision, I would teach this to the hand to hand guys that I taught. You do deep breathing. Imagine deep breathing while you're fighting, because most people are shallow breathing when they're in a
Right.
fight or flight.
Right.
And you're going wide angle because normally you get tunnel vision. So I would have them learn to do wide angle vision. In fact, I would never directly look at anyone when I'm fighting. I always look from peripheral, and I'm extremely fast, extremely effective with multiple fighters coming at me at one time. So, and that is because I'm using that beta brainwave into alpha. So the beta, alpha, gamma activation. So we would activate these guys into gamma brainwave activity, and they would fight on a level that's incomprehensible to the average person watching them. So I would have friends that would watch that never had been in the program that I taught, and they were all there. They'd be all slack. And these are Navy SEALs who are into fighting and stuff.
Yep.
But that's because we're moving into that consciousness state. So that consciousness state is putting you into these hyperactive, hyper capable zones of consciousness that we all can have access to. So I love that you guys are doing these meditations, activating people into the alpha brainwave states. So when you activate that alpha brainwave state, you learn how to go there at will. It's all that it's at some point in your consciousness, it's just a thought. In the beginning stages, you meditate and you get there and you're like, oh, I'm in that zone. I can do these things. I can see these things. I can have these insights and all that kind of stuff. But as you progress, you can get there faster and faster. I used to do these long form meditations, and then I'd have people come in and I'd be doing the meditation and I'd be watching them, and they're like, and then I asked them later, it's like, what were we doing? It's like I was already there. It's just waiting for you to get to the point where we're going to do the other thing. So some people can go there at will, and I'm like, very good, okay, that's good. That's I don't have to go through all that, that 20 minutes of talking. I just like, okay, let's kick it, let's go. So kick it in, let's go. So that's ideally where everybody wants to go. So the healing that you're teaching is something that people can eventually get to very quickly on their own. Of course, it's very powerful in a group setting, though, and that's what you offer.
Yeah. Well, I do it individually also for people who need the individual releasing,
Mm-hmm.
but the group healing is really not about that. It's really more about getting to that core, but getting people into gamma. It's interesting because corporations spend millions of dollars and they actually work with the Navy SEALs to get people into gamma, to get them into what we
Right.
call the flow state. And so, when you think about it, when you're doing that, that's truly the matrix. Like you're entering into that
Yeah.
flow
Yeah.
state. When you think about something that you desire, you've now created a timeline. And now
Right.
you have to take action to get to that desired effect. So the least resistance that you have in your thoughts to get that desired results will get you there. And so that's what getting into the alpha states and the gamma states will do, is creating instantaneous results.
Yeah. So one of the things I was very proficient at overseas in combat zones, we would have to pick people up in a certain area, and we have to like drive for about an hour to make sure we're what we call clean, so there's no one following us. And we had different ways we would go through cities and make turns, and we're always watching the rearview mirrors, and so it takes about an hour to get to a point where we're going to pick somebody up for gathering information. And it was very difficult in the Middle East. People drive, they're first generation drivers, so they don't drive normal at all. They're pretty hectic drivers, and you got motorcyclists, pedestrians, donkey carts, and just everything on the road at once. And they all want to do their own thing, and they're going the wrong way. If the traffic doesn't go good, then they make another lane. So you have 3 lanes of traffic, and they turn into about 5 or 6 lanes. It's insane. But I was able to go and pick people up right within a 10-second window, and that was because I just focused on the time. So all I did was the time. I just saw myself there when it's an hour from where we're leaving, and I'm going to pick that person up on the time that we're supposed to be there. And it amazed everybody. But it's part of that consciousness. You're talking about activating. So once you decide something, you're going to attract it. You're going to manifest it by your focus.
Right.
And no matter what gets thrown in your way, donkey carts, like people, in traffic, or cops trying to pull you over, and you're like, you get away from the cops, and There's terrorists that maybe chase you, and you're like, you get away from them. It's like, and then you get clean, and then you pick that person up, right? Perfect point. But it's all because you keep that focus, and it's that way in life. I mean, people are like, well, you were in combat. It's like it's our lives are like combat. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I've had my own personal life of combat, nothing
yeah,
military,
I
but
know,
we've
right?
all had our,
Everybody has, yeah. Especially the last
we've
five
all had
years.
it. Exactly. Exactly. And that's the thing that I think is really important for people to understand is that it's attainable for everyone. This isn't just for, a select few. This is the way we're living our life. And that's why I'm actually writing a book on quantum. So I've got people like you or people who are well known who do this, but I also have everyday people who are unknown that are also doing similar things. And it looks different to everyone because your way of using the quantum field is very different than the way I do it. Everyone has their own specific gifts. So it's about really discovering what your gift is and owning it and then stepping into that field and manifesting. And one of the things I'm involved with Dr. Joe Vitale, he was in The Secret, and I'm in his new movie called Zero Limits. And he has a phrase, expect miracles.
Yeah,
And when you do that, it's like it's not a miracle. It's like oh, of course, that should happen. It starts to become the everyday part of your life. And part of that is using the Ho'oponopono, which he teaches, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And it's the ultimate act of forgiveness. There's also people talk about the prayer of Jabez. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but it's from the Bible that
mm,
people use to manifest. You can look it up. But that's a really cool story. So it's a state of mind and an intention. So the Zero Limits is a movie about all these people who have been able to get out of their own way and create their own lives. And he talks about bending horseshoes with his hands. That should be an impossibility. I bent a 10-foot piece of rebar from my throat with another person. I'm
mm,
like, if you look at me, I'm not that strong. I try, I work out, but not to bend a 10-foot piece of rebar. But these are all things that you would think would be a miracle. But when you set your mind to it, I've walked on 40 feet of red hot coals. I've walked on 4 feet of broken wine bottle, a glass. All of these things can be attained just like you get your soldiers into that state of flow, moving in ways that most people would imagine are incomprehensible.
yeah. Yeah, it's like the hell week we all go through, and the constantly being up that period of time and doing those physical activities. I can tell you that I've been a lot of people are like, oh, hell week buds, and they all like focus on that. It's like that's a miracle stuff. I've been far beyond that. That's basic training. So I've been I was a SEAL for 24 years, yeah, and the things that I was doing later in my career were quite extraordinary. But it was because of that consciousness state, and being able to go into that flow was uh, was amazing. And then you show other people how to do that. There was only I was in the 1% of the SEAL community, and then I was like the 1% of the 1%ers doing this flow on a so there's a lot of like I would go move into flow accidentally, and I'm like I'm in flow, I'm in flow, and guys are like that. Oh, we're in flow. It's like oh we're doing good. We're amazing, aren't we? Yeah, we're doing impossible stuff. Yeah, let's keep it up. And then but then you get out of it, and you're like, how do we get back there? How did that happen? How do I get back there? And then eventually I got to the point where I could go there at will, like we're talking about, and not many people knew how to do that.
Yeah.
If they were in a combat zone where they had to, it was live or die type situation, they were able to get into that flow. But I'm able to get in that flow at will at any time. So, and that's the amazing thing that you guys are teaching with the quantum healing meditations and
Yeah.
so forth.
Yeah, so it's a matter of first you have to get out of your own way
Yeah,
and release all of the old stuff, really heal your shadow so that you can start to heal because we aren't going to need med beds. Med beds are a tool now, but we actually have the ability to heal ourselves. I've seen it. Now, whether or not you have a contract that you've decided that certain things are going to happen to you for lessons, that's a little different. But even so, you can decide that you want to tear up that contract, that you can accelerate things. Maybe you don't need that contract now. So you're learning to take charge of your own lives in a different way. So living in that fifth dimension is going to be a whole new way of living. And that's where I love this whole zero limits idea of just expecting miracles. And I'm part of a group now that's doing some really amazing things, helping people realize um, their own potential, where they focus on their um, their dream of what they want, and we hold space for them too. You can feel the whoosh when you have a group and other people are holding space and imagining the same results with you. It was almost like a breeze coming through the screen. It was crazy. It's just like this. And so the more we learn to do that, because we've been programmed and conditioned to just, you know, oh, when's the shoe going to drop? When they're going to pull the rug out from under you. That's too good to be true. All of that has been a huge part of us. But I had the same thing happen the first time I played golf. I was playing with guys who had been playing their whole life, and I went out there and hit the men's tee right on the green across a peninsula. And all these guys are like, "What?" And I played the whole game like that. And they're like, "You were in par." I'm like, "Is that a good thing?" I didn't even know. But I've never played like that again. So I still have to figure out how to get back into that on the golf course.
Yeah, and that's what the really talented golfers are doing. They're in that flow. There's just a lot of people can slip into that flow accidentally, and they're like, "How do we get back?" And some people are like, go there at will. Uh, Now, on your website, whoop, wrong one.
Lisa
So on your website,
mindset.
you talk about balancing body and soul,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yes,
balancingbodyandsoul.com.
yes. Yep. Yeah, so that's it's a monthly subscription. It's $44, and you sign up, and we have the previous healings as well. So you'll have access to those. So people can get on and look at, we put some other videos, some healings, some meditations are on there too. And we've also created a community that people can get on Signal, and it's pretty active. It's been a lot of fun to see. It's all health related, health and wellness. So you subscribe, you can be there at 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock. If you miss it, you can watch the replays. Bring your animals in, because the animals get healing too. You just want to leave the door open in case they need to leave, because it's powerful and it might be too much for them. But it's $44. And we wanted to make it affordable for people so that they could, really use this and utilize it. And you can keep doing the healings throughout the week on the recordings.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And the next one is coming up.
Yeah, it's this Friday, the 23rd, which I can't believe we're already into the end of May. The 23rd, 12 o'clock and 4 o'clock Eastern. So you click on the link and sign up. And yeah, we'd love to see you. It's the group is really amazing. And also, I wanted to mention as well, for those people, the Zero Limits movie that I'm in, we're having a red carpet premiere in Sacramento, and limited ticket sales are coming up. So if people are interested in coming to that, Joe Vitale and some people a lot of the cast members are going to be there. And that is going to be, it's a Thursday night. So I'll have more information coming up on that if people are in the Sacramento area.
This Thursday,
No, June 26th.
June
In
26th.
yeah, in Sacramento. So that's where when and that's on the Zero Limits movie They can get information on that.
Very good. Very good. So in the description box, we'll put it in the chat right now. You guys can sign up for that. Very, very, very reasonable. And after the meditation, like you're saying, it starts at 12 Eastern and then
Yeah.
4 Eastern if you miss that for the live one. But you'll have access to the program if you miss it, and you'll have access to the meditation for any time. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, no, it's a great value, and the community is great, helping each other out, and people make suggestions for supplements and things to help each other out too. It's been fun, and yeah, we welcome as many. And if anyone has any questions, they can reach me if they want to know more. If they feel like they need more individual attention, I'm happy to work with people one on one.
Oh, that's
And
beautiful.
that's through my website, lisamindset.com.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, Lisa, anything else you want to share?
No, I think that's it. I just hope to see everyone there on Friday, and yeah, keep focusing on what you want, not what you don't want, because you don't want obnoxious people at your dinner table.
Then don't
Like
think
I
about
never
that.
was.
Think about someone that's loving, that's got the same type of mindset that you do, and yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right,
All
Lisa,
right.
it's always wonderful to have you on. Great show,
Thank
great
you.
insights, and look forward to. I'm going to be in the meditation hopefully this time. So
Yes, we look
yep,
forward to that.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
everyone.
You take care.
Lots of
All right.
love, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.